All right. So we know we're a little behind on this, but the Brooklyn Nets have just been swept by the Boston Celtics. Celtics are moving on to face the Milwaukee Bucks in the second round. That starts on Sunday, I believe.
Yep.
Super excited. Can't wait for that. But before that happens, Blake, how does this sweep affect Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant's legacies?
Well, I think we start off with Kyrie. I don't really think it affects his legacy much at all. I mean, I think his is kind of set as like he's a great clutch player, made one of the best clutch shots in NBA history in Game 7 of the finals, and he'll probably go down as the best ball handler of all time. But I mean, his reputation is pretty much the same still, unreliable, injury prone, and I don't think the series really changed that much. So I don't really think it did much for Kyrie Irving's legacy.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you there. But I do remember there was a time after he hit that clutch shot in 2016 when people were like, is Kyrie Irving going to be better than Steph all time?
Yeah,
Kind of a thing. Like, is Kyrie Irving going to win MVP? There was that potential there, and he never lived up to it. And I
yeah,
think he could have, but all the years of
yeah.
being cancer
Dysfunction.
in the locker room have
Yeah,
proven that. And I think um, I know we shouldn't tie LeBron into everything, but we're going to. But I think that speaks volumes to how great of a leader LeBron was in being able to utilize and maximize Kyrie Irving to his fullest potential. Because I think we can all agree he played his best basketball as a Cleveland Cavalier.
yeah, easily. Those couple years in the finals were his best years.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a shame he left that.
I know.
So on to Kevin Durant, Blake. How does this affect him?
Well, I mean, if you guys missed our video from a couple days ago, I ranted about how Kevin Durant was overrated for about 10 minutes. So you can go check out
I think
that.
it was more like 15.
Well, you can
It
go
was more
check.
like 15.
You can go check out that video if you want to hear my full take on everything. But basically, I think he's just super overrated. I think it takes a big toll on his legacy. I don't think he's a top 12 player of all time like he's listed right now. And I think, yeah, I mean, he hasn't done anything outside of the Warriors system and has yet to prove himself still. So I think he maybe finishes his career out in at the back end of the top 20, and he could have been a top 10 player of all time.
Yeah. It's interesting what you said about how he still needs to prove himself
Yeah,
because it's funny. Imagine having an MVP, two rings, two Finals MVPs, and you still have to prove yourself.
yeah,
And it's because nobody cares about what he did in Golden State.
yeah,
I don't think anyone cares what anyone did. Like going back to the time of 2016, right?
yeah,
So along the same time of, could Kyrie be better than Steph all time? Steph and KD both had to answer of how are they going to bounce back after blowing a 3-1 lead,
yeah,
and what they did not answer that at all.
yeah,
And I think since they've split up, Steph's case has gotten a lot better because he got the scoring title last year. He's the all-time three-point shooter of all time, and all-time three-point shooter of all time. There we go. That's smart words. Um, but then, and they're legit title contenders this
yeah,
year, too.
exactly.
And Kevin Durant, the asterisk still remains. It's kind of like the same thing with LeBron. Like, I don't think anybody really respected what he did in Miami
Yeah,
until he won
yeah, exactly. And
in
then it
Cleveland.
validated those two championships.
Yeah, and so until Kevin Durant does that, nobody cares.
Exactly.
For me, what this does, Katie getting swept in the first round, I don't think Kevin Durant is a top 5 player in the NBA anymore.
Yeah.
I think I would list him at ninth right now, behind Giannis, LeBron, Embiid, Steph, Jokic, Luka, Booker, and Tatum. Not all in that order. I just
I don't think I'd have Booker above him, but I agree with all the others.
yeah, because like all four games of those Celtics games were close.
Yeah.
Like their biggest loss was by 7, and Kevin Durant couldn't close out one of them.
I know.
Like the
Jason
greatest,
Tatum
one of
closed
the
out
greatest
all of them.
one of the greatest scorers of all time. He couldn't close out just one.
Well, and even Kyrie too.
Yeah.
Like supposedly they're two of the best closers in the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Kyrie had no nutrition in him, but
Kyrie gets a pass because of Ramadan, because 2 of those games were in like the afternoon,
yeah,
and he
had
didn't have anything in him the whole game. So
Exactly.
I'll give him a pass for that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone could do much of anything on no food or water.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, and so you might be thinking, viewers, well, Kevin Durant's not the only superstar that's been swept, and you're right. We're not Kevin Durant haters. Well, Blake is, but I mean, I still like him. But this is a big deal because I went back and I looked at other superstars that got swept in the first round. Other superstars have been swept, later on in the playoffs, but these are the ones who were just swept in the first round. Didn't win a single playoff game.
Yeah.
So Michael Jordan, his second and third year, but he lost to the Boston Celtics, and he had the most points scored in a playoff game ever with 69. So Larry Bird said that was God in human form.
Yeah.
So, like, he didn't go out like a punk.
Exactly.
Shaq got swept his rookie year against the Pacers, rookie.
Yeah.
And then he got swept again in 2007 with the Miami Heat being swept to the Bulls. So that isn't good either, because the last year they had just won the championship.
Yeah.
And Dwayne Wade was also on that 07 Heat team.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look good for them. And then the other superstar I found that was swept in the first round was Magic Johnson, his final year at the age of 36 against the Rockets. But
I mean, he's old.
yeah, it was his final year.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And, like, I think this is why it's such a big deal, is because at the start of the year, Kevin Durant was argued to be the best player in the league. I know you and I had him as second behind Giannis.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people who were like, if Kevin Durant was behind the line, no one's talking about the Bucks.
Yeah, exactly.
And now that's completely been erased.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. This is the bright side to me, though, is Kevin Durant coming up short, I think, is great for the future of the NBA, because everyone agrees Giannis's 1 ring is greater than Kevin Durant's 2 rings.
Yeah, easily.
And I think a lot of people would even say that they're better than LeBron's 2 rings he won in Miami.
Yeah.
Giannis's 1 ring, because he did it like the right way.
Yeah.
So I think future NBA stars are going to be incentivized to stay with teams and try to win with them.
Yeah.
And I think the best player in the NBA sets the tone kind of for the rest of the NBA players. So like when LeBron was top dog.
Generation, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, because like when LeBron was top dog, I'm not saying what he did was wrong, but he kind of encouraged hey, if the franchise is failing you, you can leave, which kind of gave Kevin Durant. I think if LeBron hadn't already done the Miami Heat, Kevin Durant would not have gone to the Warriors.
Well, and even just people forcing their way out before their contract's up, like Kawhi or Paul George.
Or James Harden.
Yeah, James Harden. Even Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I think that all stems back from LeBron just being like, I'm out, I'm doing what's best for me. And I think you can still have that if the franchise is failing you and letting you down. But in some of the ways these guys have just left, it's like, you're on a good team. This is good. Like, you got a good situation. Yeah. You're not rotting away
like
with
Bradley
no other all-star. Yeah. Anyways, because I do remember when DeMarcus Cousins signed with the Warriors, we were totally freaking out of, oh gosh, is this just how it's going to be now? Every NBA player just,
Yeah.
there's just all the all-stars are on two teams,
Yeah.
and that's it.
I
And
know.
thankfully it didn't work out.
Because, like, I was thinking back and I was like, man, this year is, like, the funnest playoffs to watch because I feel like there's, like, 6 teams that could win it.
Yeah. Well, and like, this is one of the first years in a while I'm like, I think these are the teams going to be in the NBA Finals, but it's not
Yeah.
like in the 4 years war with the Cavaliers and the Warriors.
You just
Everyone knew it was going to be the Cavaliers and the Warriors. There was
exactly. There was no polarity or anything. Like,
Yeah.
well, and
Yeah.
another thing too is that, like, because I was looking through and I was like, I mean, the 76ers could make the finals. I mean, they got basically 2 MVPs, and then I'm like, Bucks obviously could make it. Heat already have made it. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. And then, like, the West, I'm like, Suns, yeah. Warriors, yeah. Grizzlies, I could see it. Like, there's just so many
Yeah.
different. Like, I don't know who's gonna win these next series.
Well,
Or-
and don't forget about the Mavericks and the Celtics.
Yeah, like
Don't forget about the Mavericks and the Celtics. Like, these guys are all legit. Like, as a Suns fan, I'm legit worried facing the Mavericks.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, any of these teams could win, and how close. Oh, your screen's frozen.
Huh?
Oh, you're good now. Your screen was just
Oh,
frozen
okay.
for a sec. But I
Oh,
was saying, I can't remember this many first round series going like 6 or 7 games.
I was thinking that myself because I'm like, usually there are a couple that are like,
Yeah,
they're bounced early, and
exactly.
and I know we even predicted a couple of sweeps, and they didn't happen.
Yeah, only the one.
So, yeah. Well, and even the Raptors being down 3-0 and forcing game 6 is still pretty phenomenal. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I don't know
Yeah.
how we got on this topic.
I was talking about how Kevin Durant failing
Oh yeah, that's
is
right.
good for the future of the NBA because I think guys are going to stay with their teams longer. I think it's going to encourage more loyalty, but it also, like, it's a happy medium. Like,
Yeah.
NBA teams that have a superstar know they have
Yeah.
to
They're kind of in the
all
hot
in.
seat.
Yeah, or the guy could leave and he's justified in leaving as long as he doesn't join a
Yeah,
ridiculous super team.
exactly.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
Um,
I mean, I pretty much got all mine out.
Yeah. That's it for me.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see what Kevin Durant does down the line, see if he can redeem himself.
Yeah, I guess one question. Do you think Kevin Durant regrets joining the Nets?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, because I know for sure he regrets going to the Warriors
Yeah.
because he knows that no one cares about any of his accomplishments that he had there.
Yeah. But, well, I think he probably does regret it because I think if he had won 4 rings or like 6 rings or something there, then it wouldn't be looked at as just like this blip in his career of like if they had done 2 3-peats or something. Like,
That's true. Yeah, if they, if he stuck it out for a lot longer, like if he re-signed with them, I'm glad he didn't because the NBA would be so boring.
exactly.
But yeah, there was one other thing. Oh yeah, I think another takeaway is I think teams are going to hold on to their superstars longer and pay them more because looking back, had James Harden been given the $5 million he wanted
Yeah.
back when he was on the Thunder, that core would have stayed together, and they could have been like the Warriors with Draymond, Steph, and Clay,
Yeah.
where everyone
True.
knows, like, okay, Steph Curry is the top, he's the best player on that team,
Yeah.
but he has to have Clay and Draymond. Like, it's like the Holy Trinity.
Yeah. Well, and they've
And
been
if-
together their whole careers, which could have been like the Thunder.
Yeah. And I, like, Russ and Harden may not have MVPs, but they would probably all be champions. I think they would have won at least one. They likely would have won
I think they
probably
could have
2
won
or 3
more.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Durant, I would say, is rated properly as like the 12th best player. If he had won his 2 rings in OKC, no debate. I would have no problems because
he could even be in the top 10 all time.
Yeah.
Like no one would have a problem with that.
Exactly.
Because he would have won the right way.
Well, and done it as him leading the charge, building the team, or not necessarily building the team, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but they built a team around him.
Exactly.
He led the way to the championship.
Yes, exactly. And when they were already so close, and then he just like quit and joined a stacked team. It's like, okay, well, a bunch of people could have gone to that team and won.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny you bring this up because up until Kevin Durant left the Warriors, every team he had lost to in the playoffs, the next year he beat.
Yeah.
Soundly. And I can go through that, but that might be for another time. But yeah, every team he lost to in the playoffs, the next year he beat. And so I think that's why everyone was so excited at the end of 2016. Oh, what,
Oh, you froze.
Me?
You froze.
Hello?
Oh, you're
Am I still frozen?
No, you're good now.
Okay. Anyways, I think that's another thing. Because even if Kevin Durant just had won, if he had gone back and beaten like that Warriors team and then he beats LeBron in the finals and they just win that one ring, that one ring is like as valuable as Dirk Nowitzki's one ring where you have to rate him among...
Or even Giannis's one ring too.
Yeah, like their name almost becomes hallowed in that city. Like you can't go into Milwaukee and talk bad about Giannis.
Exactly.
You can't go into Golden State and talk bad about Steph.
And even LeBron now with Cleveland because he went back and delivered.
Yeah, their name just becomes a revered, hallowed pantheon.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting to see what happens for sure.
Yeah.